that we can't allow these people. Quote, if we allow this group of people to illegally take over our country because it's illegal, when the votes are illegal, when they get the way they...
Peacefully!
when they get...
He said peacefully!
When the way they got there is illegal. When
He said peacefully!
About how the election has been stolen.
They let them in! They let them in!
Like hell, or we're going to lose something.
If I took the text of that speech and put it in Google, I bet you I could find identical verbiage out of the Democrats about the 2016 election 550,000 times. That is exactly what they said about 2016, and everybody acts like questioning election results is this brand new thing. I'm like, I remember when Gore and Bush did this thing with the hanging Chad and all that. Like, it's not.
Okay, I don't know where you want to go. Yeah, you live in it's like talking to my mom. You live in a fantasy world. You live in a fantasy world.
This is actually like talking to people in my family too.
That's okay. Yeah, you live in a fantasy world. Nothing that you're saying is true. Donald Trump gave a speech for an hour plus. He wanted there to be violence at the Capitol. That was the plan the entire time. We know that because of conversations that he had with private counsel beforehand, and we know because he sat and he watched the Capitol be rioted at for 3 hours, and he did nothing about it. People were outside chanting, "Hang Mike Pence." He was evacuated from his office, and then he was evacuated to an underground bunker where Trump didn't even call he didn't even call him to check on him. Okay, and as he's down in his bunker, he's looking at his phone where Donald Trump is tweeting, "Mike Pence has failed us." Okay, he didn't do what needs to be done. Like, the idea that this all just happened by accident and the Democrats have done the same thing, no, they haven't. The Democrats have never led a mass protest insurrection at the Capitol building to circumvent the certification of the vote. That's never happened ever. And the idea that you're going to string together some series of quotes from people and pretend that this is the same thing as Donald Trump giving an hour-and-a-half speech about how every single swing state election was stolen, you will never find anything that is the equivalent of that. Even bringing up Gore v. Bush is a joke, because despite the unpopularity of that Supreme Court case, they accepted the results of the election, just like how Hillary conceded the very night of the election to Donald Trump, as opposed to Donald Trump, who tried to win, who tried to claim victory the night of before the votes had even been counted. It's not even close to the same thing. On every single factual level, you're completely delusional and off on the opposite on the end here.
I'll pose a counter vision of what happened on January 6th. So,
a counter vision.
In 2020, the government mandated that everybody stay in their homes and not leave and do all the things that I can't talk about the shot ever again. But and simultaneously, we're turning on their television and watching BLM rioters burn the cities down.
This is a MAGA influencer, and he's basically unreachable. There's nothing you can say, no amount of evidence, nothing that you can present to him that can change his mind. And there's a very specific reason for this. I think many of you will be surprised at what the reason is. But those are Trump sneakers. That's what that is in the background of his video. Trump sneakers. And that's the reason why he's unreachable. That's the reason why it doesn't matter what Destiny says to him. He's never going to win a debate with this guy. No one on the left can reach this guy because of Trump sneakers. I don't mean it literally, but let me elaborate. This guy is so in the Trump cult that he actually spent a bunch of money on Trump sneakers. Now, if he is to admit that Trump is a buffoon and a liar and a fraud, what would happen to the Trump sneakers? What's the value of those sneakers? Can he get his money back? Would he sell the sneakers? Would he throw them away? Would he burn them? What would happen to the Trump sneakers if this guy admits the truth? That's the reason why he can't admit the truth. Now, obviously, I'm being a little bit facetious, but what I'm saying is not completely being facetious. There is some truth to it. If you're a MAGA influencer, you are making a living from this idea that Trump is the greatest president. He's such a great president. He's so persecuted. Everybody hates him. Everybody's giving him a hard time, and everybody's so mean to him, right? That's how you make a living. How do you admit that your entire business is based on a lie? How do you admit that you're promoting a fraud? Even worse, you're promoting someone who is pretty much a traitor to the country. That's tough. That's tough. It's kind of like going up to a Christian and trying to convince them that God is not real. I mean, it's a big part of their life. They're going to church every Sunday. Right? A lot of their life decisions are based on their belief. You think any amount of evidence is going to get a Christian to just be like, well, God's not real. You're right. You know, you're right. God's not real. You think you're going to convince this guy that Trump's a fraud? Trump is not real? Not going to happen. It's in some ways like if you're the DEA, you can't win the drug war. Because if you win the drug war, then you lose your job. If there's no drug dealers, who are you going to arrest? If there's no one to arrest, who's going to pay you money to go arrest people that don't exist? You need drugs. You need the drug war. The drug war is what pays the bills. The police can't lock up all the criminals. The police can never solve crime because they'll be out of a job. A MAGA influencer can never admit that everything that they've been preaching to their audience for years now is a lie. They can't admit that they have been fooled or that they're fooling others, that they knowingly are deceiving others for profit. Regardless of what this guy is up to, whether he is in on the scam or he's a victim himself, it's just not a feasible thing for him to ever denounce MAGA. It can happen. I think it's happened more. That's interesting. There have been people who've turned away from MAGA, but no one that's been making money from MAGA. Isn't that curious? Those who make money from MAGA never leave. Those who don't make money from MAGA sometimes do. I wonder why that is, especially considering the influencers are the ones who are the most in the know. This is what they do for a living. They've seen every video, they've heard every talking point, right? They're very much into this. So they should be the first ones to be converted. But yet, you don't really see it. Can you imagine the day when a guy who was a MAGA influencer, well, and Trump's still alive, MAGA's still alive, and he's like, man, I was fooled, and now I'm going to try to convince people that MAGA's not real or whatever. I don't think we'll ever see that, right? MAGA is not just a cult. It's a way of life. It's how he pays his bills. So once again, this guy is unreachable because of a pair of gold sneakers with a T on the side. That's my opinion anyway, but I could be wrong. I've been wrong before, and I'll be wrong again. This is Debate Me channel. Debate me in the comment section below. Click on the like button, subscribe, smash that bell. Be well.